So before we deal with whatever the hell is going on in the space of the ship, we're in the midst of this Eidolon drift and drinking.
Yeah. Forgot about the drinking.
On the second jump, we drink. Or is it that? Is it a more of a ship-wide culture thing, or do we just find ourselves like dealing with all of the what Typhoon dumped on us while we have a few shots?
Yeah, I think. I
in
mean,
the
because we
privacy
had
of a
we stopped before for the dense nebula cloud, right? And then we had to jet out of there on impulse
the
power.
dense nebula cloud, no light, no real external stuff. Get out of there, make the jump, and then we're like, okay, now we're in the drift. Fine. And at that point was we pull up the letter from Ty, look it over, swear the vow, and go, okay, this is going to be
Right.
a hell
Well,
of a
so I
thing.
remember because I have this note on the map here. My whole thing was you said that
Oh, the
uh,
consultant
she was a
misunderstanding.
consultant. Yeah. And then I was like, well, the sisterhood only really has one kind of consultant.
Yeah. No,
So
and
did we really need that on this trip? Is what my thought was.
yeah, exactly.
And
And
didn't a
then
little
that
young for
led to a
you and
whole
also sort of girlish?
that led to a whole bunch of going, oh no, God
Yeah.
no. Even if she
Right.
were, not me, no.
Right.
Um
Exactly. So I think then it was like, okay, well, now we both come down a whole notch, and I think that was when it was both
drink,
walked over towards
drink.
the drink cabinet and, like, literally at the same moment, reached for the drink cabinet.
So hmm, 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 hmm. I'm just looking at some moves here real quick because I feel like what do you think it means as I sip?
Mm.
We're at the sipping out of the shot glass stage of the evening.
Right.
What do you think it means when she says aims to replace the ironsworn? As I ponder this,
Well,
and I seem to be asking the question of the ceiling.
I guess it kinda brings up the question of what is the purpose of the ironsworn and pinnacle?
Well, not just Pinnacle. I mean, the Ambers are really everywhere. I mean, they have, but I can't understand as I wander away from the camera, but also I think wander away, like visibly wander away from the thing is a pacing. I really think that Quentin is a bit of a thinking pacer or a pacing
Mhm.
thinker or something like that. But no one in their right mind would, even if they know very little of only the surface level of the embers, would ever think of them as being powerless or lacking in influence. That's a very antithesis of their nature. They have control or influence in almost every aspect of existence within the Oasis. So
Mhm.
what I can't fathom is perhaps it's just my own experience. It, it's hardly we are hardly to be envied in that regard.
Mhm.
We have our means and ways, and I love the fact that he says it backwards. We have our means and ways. We have our responsibilities, and that things that we are called upon, where we can assert a right of way, so to speak. But we can hardly be said to have the level of influence that the Embers do. Hereditary respect, perhaps, historical cachet, but what could they possibly? I mean, they have to take over to replace the Ironsworn is to take on a responsibility I can't imagine that they would want, unless it is to remove anyone that fulfills that responsibility, in which case, I mean, I don't think you could either argue that we are not necessary. So, what is the purpose? What do they want? I'm not pleased by the idea that they are on every other ship, as I've heard, headed toward Cobalt Reach, because if they are attempting to cut us out, so to speak, we'll not be best pleased that we have made it as far as we have. That's something to keep in mind, I suppose, but I just can't understand the goal.
Well, let's make it personal. What is it that maybe you've done that they wish you would not be able to do in the future or someone like
I cannot imagine that this is not a moment when his daughter comes knocking.
Yeah, exactly. I say as I hold my glass up and see through the bottom of my glass her face coming into view, right?
Hello. Come in. Be welcome. We were just, it's a tradition amongst Spacefarers the second jump to have a celebratory drink that the first one did not kill you. The hope being that that trend continues, and we may have fortified. We might have fortified
I
ourselves.
hope we haven't had 4 or 5, or this is gonna be a hard next encounter.
We might have fortified, and I lean over 4 to 5. We might have fortified ourselves in advance of several additional jumps. We've had a rough couple of
Yep.
days. So, but please come in, sit now.
Can
So
I get you something to drink, Cole?
I'm pondering. There's so many ways this could go. She could be like the preacher's daughter that's never, or she could be the pastor's daughter or they could have been part of the. There could have been exposure therapy to train everybody who's part of there to make sure that they're
Sure.
not taken advantage of.
Yeah, like Firefly.
Yeah, sure.
Or it could be a full Rumspringa thing where she's just like, "Get me out of the nunnery and into the full blast world of life."
I do like the idea of her sitting down, pouring like right up to the rim and
Right.
just shot and just, kind of thing. I think that's probably the way that it goes. There's a move in here. There's no role for this, but there is a move in here. It's in the session moves, beginning a session. Set the scene. When you begin a significant session or a new chapter of play, set the scene by envisioning your character's current situation and intent. Spotlight a new danger. I think we have. This can even include a scene hidden from your character's perspective. If you do envision a brief vignette, then all the players take +1 momentum as you return to play from the viewpoint of this new situation. I think it's one of those things where you have that little discussion in the prelude to a new television chapter to kind of television episode to signal to the viewers these guys are going to be factoring. So let's bring we're having this discussion to remind everybody that the Embers exist. They're probably pissed, and if we run into them, this is probably why.
External factors create a new danger.
It's like, the Professional Courtesans Guild is trying to take over the military. Why? What possible, they can already call us in for favors for any, damn thing anyway. So anyway,
Yeah.
I already hear stories about my father. And I've heard that you're an engineer and that you're a pearl diver, but what is that like? And how does a ironsworn end up being a pearl diver? Don't you have people constantly coming to you and begging you for help and that sort of thing? How do you end up just staying in one place and leading I'm assuming leading a group down into that?
Well, you have to understand that I became a pearl diver because I was running away from something. I was running away from being the head of engineering on a station that very much needed a head of engineering.
Why didn't you want to be an engineer?
And
I mean, you are an
I love
engineer.
being an engineer, but I also find it incredibly frustrating to work with stupid people.
She raises up her little shot glass over to you like she's gonna do a little salute tink.
And it
For
became
that.
clear that politics was going to be the whole thing. And actually, this may play into the question that your father was just asking, which is why does the circle want to replace the ironsworn? And I believe that it has something to do with being in front instead of being in behind. I was, as an engineer, decreasingly engineering and increasingly politicking. And a lot of it was discussions with the sisterhood about how things should be. I don't care about how things should be. I see how they are and then figure out how to make it work. So in the end, I found that I could get the peace and purity that I needed only by being away from the station as often as possible. And that meant extreme danger. I've always been the kind of person that likes to be holy.
Lady Ty, whom you met, recruited me because I was already ironsworn and she thought I'd be useful and predictable in that regard. And she recruited Tinker here because he doesn't think like an ironsworn. He also doesn't think like an ember, but you do. He asked a good question. You probably have better insight into their ways and means than either of us. Why don't you roll gather information?
Okay.
It's your role, but really it's about whether or not she has any kind of insight into any of this.
Sure, I like that. I like her as basically just being like a book in the library at this point.
Yeah, that works. A book in the library. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, something.
It's a weak hit. Information, new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover and take place. So you could take. Oh, so the other move, the whole like reframing of things, is a +1 momentum for the both of us. All right, so that was the one thing. But and you're going back up here to your actual roll. Weak hit, +1, so you get another one, another +1 on the momentum. How do you feel about like maybe a little oracle to kind of give? Otherwise, we're just
Yeah, no, for sure.
okay.
Uh,
There's a faction oracle, faction rumors, faction projects. Rumors sounds interesting.
yeah, there's some fun rumors in there.
Suffering I'm not sure. Okay, I like suffering a shortage of key personnel. I really don't know how replacing the ironsworn fixes that problem though, which is fine, but
Well, you could hit another one because again, this is just what Cole knows, right? But
suffering,
she
yeah.
knows something, but not everything.
Which, yeah, and her certainly thing is they're trying to get more people. So key workers or key personnel is different because again,
Well, again, when you have a very limited pool of people, maybe it's just as simple as they want to have people not make a choice to become ironsworn so that they have no choice but to join them.
yeah, or it could be about. I'm going to go with project.
Because I mean, let's sidebar on this for a second. I
Mm-hmm.
dug in the book a second ago, and I didn't see this, but to me, the ironsworn thing is a little bit more than just right. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a I don't know how it is in Starforged, but I definitely get the vibe that there's a I don't want to say magical effect, but there's a
it depends.
more than cultural effect.
It depends on what the vibe is. You could play it very straightforward, and they're basically like marshals. You could
Right,
play it like they're Jedi. You could play it like they're
paladin type
is
vibe.
they're Tolkien Astari. It could be you can play it a lot of different ways. I think given what we have got here, where there's definitely weird stuff going on with the Bellfire, I think that there's definitely that aspect to it. If and it may have been that it wasn't always this way, and it's sort of manifested. I mean, you take years and years and years of focus and devotion and blah 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 blah. And, the will sort of makes a thing be. So it could be that they want the secret of that.
Well,
They
and
want that.
again, with Cole being a prophet, right? She's got something going on. And maybe they think that there's some level of zero sum of this energy going around and they want
Yeah,
monopoly.
yeah. It could be that they think that she's an in into whatever it is that we can do, and maybe that is part of it. Maybe the bit that they've always been able. Okay, okay, all right. Maybe because the thing is in my head, whenever I'm telling my wife about stories about this thing, I always kind of go like, so the Circle of Embers, and I'm like and she's like, you told me the Bene Gesserit plus the companions from Firefly, and I'm like, yeah, and
Right.
that's kind of the mental shorthand. But what if they're not? What if they're not any of the Bene Gesserit? What if they're not any of the spiritual stuff? Maybe if they've just never gotten their hands on that. Like they don't
Yeah.
have a way of locking that in because it's for them. So then we're establishing a little bit of a thing about how the Balefire and stuff works is it's responsive to the mindset, right? So their politics and genetic steerage, essentially, and
Hmm.
population steerage, it's all very biological science and politics and stuff. And we're kind of out there in the wilds doing crazy shit and making vows and fighting monsters and stuff. And we've sort of amassed this cultural cachet of mysticism around us. Whether or not it's true or not, or was, it is now. And I think there's a portion of it that is what an Ironsworn brings to the table. And a portion of it that is what the people that we protect think about us makes a certain thing be kind of true.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I like the idea that, enough belief makes it true in this part of the galaxy or whatever. I really like the idea that maybe the Ironsworn back where we were from weren't like this. And it's this environment that has
Yeah,
sort of resonated, literally resonated and given this extra.
yeah. Did you ever read? I want to say it's C.S. Friedman, maybe. Hang on. Black Sun Rising, the Cold Fire trilogy. It comes of a certain era where it's like fantasy by way of science fiction, kind of. But the basic idea, the general idea is a colony ship crash landed on this planet, And almost immediately, there was a whole lot of problems with essentially horrible shit manifesting, like monsters and whatnot. Like the whole planet was crawling. And it turned out what was really going on is there's basically an energy signature around the planet, a field, if you will, that's extremely responsive to psychic, mental whatever. And that's not a problem for the people that live there. It is a huge problem for humans who can't control their subconscious, where's the good goddamn. And they bring with them this whole generationship of people full of like superstitions and religions and all this other kind of whatnot. And it's so you can get wizards and sorcerers and blah blah blah, because if you have a will, there's a way. And they've only managed. The problem is anybody can have like a bad night or a bad nightmare and accidentally kill their entire family because whatever. So you need ways of, so that you build charms that help, and the charms that help sort of diffuse that, protect the house. But the reason they protect the house is because you think they're going to. The church, some sort of pseudo space Catholic thing. And it's not space. There's hardly, technology doesn't work anymore, because as soon as you have somebody that you hand a gun and they don't fully understand how the gun works, it's going to misfire. Like the most terrifying thing in the world is a gun firing, because it means that somebody so fully understands this thing that it, that it will work. I'm only mentioning this. There's something in here with that sort of like the balefire being like a reactive energy that sort of made some of what you perceive to be the case. Every time you think that the ironsworn can, pull off these ridiculous things and do this kind of stuff, and no, until the legend grows a little bit and becomes a little bit more true.
Well, and the question is it true just because you had, again, back to the whole great man theory of history, did you just have such incredible individuals that made up this group that set the bar so high that then the expectations were high? And once expectations are high, you give people more slack, you give them more credit,
I'm sure that there is a whole line of philosophy about the whole thing, where like the original ones were great and we are great because they were, and everyone's belief in their greatness has shorn up our own inadequacies is probably how Quin would say it.
Exactly.
No,
well, and then there's a little bit of the secret as well, which is that if you believe you could do it, it makes it a lot easier for you to stay on track.
Yeah, if you've got somebody, fear a fanatic in this kind of environment, because their belief can become like they can prove themselves right.
Exactly. Unless for some reason they can't, in which case they might want to steal someone else's valor.
Very true. I like all of this. It does it gives us something where there's a little bit of the implication is that the Circle of Embers is trying to make that jump to mysticism. That is a gap that they don't currently cover on their own. I do not think I'm far enough in my cups to offer Nazari's theory of
right.
But that does and
the last thing he wants to do is lose his daughter's
no. This is honestly, he's not even telling stories. He's letting you tell, like, hopefully, he'll kind of nudge things along until you're like maybe telling like mishap stories about like pearl dives and weirdness. Actually, I'm curious whether or not you really lean into that or stay away from that, given some things you may have encountered and or brought home with you from.
Well, I think all the stories that I tell are like the first 5 dives.
Oh, okay.
And I've had dozens and dozens of dives, right? But the first 5 are the ones I'd always tell the same stories about, and you've heard them all a million times. And it was like the first time that I, cracked one open and there was an artifact in there that immediately we were able to take to the station and it stabilized the life.
Amazing. Because I think we were just talking about how the ironsworn are, got these sort of ability, and you are very much not that. You're an engineer. You think like an inventor. You think like, this kind of a thing. And one of the things that I thought probably when you were first brought in, or at least when I became aware of it, is like, what an odd recruit, because you're not the right fit for the kind of roving paladin, roving wizard, type thing. You're not that. You're the non-magical, I've got no extra abilities rogue. You're not even an artificer. You're very much just doing the mundane stuff, wrong mindset and everything. And I can't help but notice that's not actually true anymore. You've definitely got a whiff of the
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. Is like, did I get the juice that it took to be an ironsworn from the symbiote?
Whereas you definitely have a whiff of the ineffable about you, but at the same time, I don't know if it. Don't think he could probably even put his finger on it. But if he was forced at gunpoint and a bottle full of engine room hooch, articulate it, I would say, oh, he's not normal, but he's not our normal kind of not normal. Like you're a different thing. I don't think you've got the traditional ironsworn juice, but you definitely have a weird juice. We're using the word juice enough that it's making me uncomfortable because we're not all of us walking around with symbiotes. That's a different thing.
I was just gonna say it's the symbiote thing makes me think.
Yeah, which makes me think it's like, oh, he's definitely not right, but he's a different kind of wrong than me. No offense, it's useful, but what is it? I have no idea. And that's a lie too, because he definitely has an idea. Something weird happened down in one of the dives, but what? Who the hell can say? He hasn't gone crazy and killed everybody, so it's not one of the normal things that happen sometimes. So I think probably somewhere in the midst of this, we feel the ship come out of the Eidolon drift, and we're just kind of going along because it's business as usual. We're going on to the next thing. No alarms went off, so we're probably fine. And then our pals probably go off simultaneously with like we have a problem or come to the bridge or some sort of pal summons for the both of us.
Right. I look down and I'm like, I'm glad we didn't actually have 4 or 5.
Well, there's no alarms going off, but they want us up there, so something weird. All right. And we both get up, start to head out, and turn back to Cole. Like, well, come on.
And she bravely tries to stand without support, and then immediately grabs hold of the chairs and the table.
On second thought, why don't you recover and be along later? That'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We'll put you to work tomorrow. And I can,
And I'm rapidly scanning through the PAL, and I don't see any alarms. I don't see anything wrong with the Eidolon drive. I don't see anything wrong with the ship. And I'm like, why are we out of Eidolon drive?
I think so. My take on this, as I think, right as you're getting to the bridge, you realize what's weird. And what's weird is the power levels across the ship are sitting at about 80%, 83. Instead of being at what should be normal, like just optimal, everything's low. Or maybe it should be lower than that. But in any case, the power levels are off. Nothing's real bad yet, but they're all lower than they should be, having just come out of a drift.
What happened to the drives? Are we out of? Is my rigged up extra fuel in the storage bays under the ship leaking?
No. Well, I can just see you like looking at the pallet as you're coming in the room and say that's where the power levels are off. And as you're saying that, the guy, like, as he hears us coming in, and is it Grudge? Is that what we decided his call sign was? I think it was Grudge.
Let's see if I have it. Karthik Carr is the pilot.
Karthik Carr. I thought his call sign was Grudge. Let's write it down.
If you want it to be that, it can be.
It was Grudge.
Okay.
So as you're saying, that's where the power levels. He hears us coming in, so the power levels are off. I mean, we can jump, but we probably shouldn't until we at least figure out what's going on. There's no leaks or anything, as near as I can tell. Nobody's reporting anything from engineering. Everything should be fine. The engines are going, but it's not all getting where it should go, where it should be. The power plant's running. Power levels readouts to where the power is going, not where they should be. We're delivering 100%, and the readouts where they're going, not at 100%.
There's something on the top of the ship that is taking all of the power from every conduit on the top of the ship. The bottom is fine. Why would that?
There's something on top of the ship sucking all the power out of the ship?
Like what?
Well,
it's very amorphous.
It's very amorphous.
You said you had an idea for this, so
I do have an idea for this. I want to see if. Well, could it just be something damaged the ship? I mean, if we got like a conduit broken up there, so if everything's.
It's every conduit.
Every conduit.
That's not possible.
No, I've seen the outside of the ship. It's definitely possible. I saw what kind of ship this thing is.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not possible.
This sounds so much
and
like.
And it just moved. Like, the rear section is now clear and full power.
Okay, where did it move to? And I think the answer
Closer
to
to
that
us.
is the open
Yeah,
part up underneath.
yeah, into the
Well,
strategic hole.
I think that Grunge said, "Do we pick something up in the dark nebula?"
Oh no.
I mean,
Maybe.
well, if I ran into something, if I was in the middle of some place with no light and no power, and something came in with light and power, I'd have grabbed onto it. So it could be we just got something that lampreyed on there. And that's not good for us because we're not exactly
No, it's not good
airtight.
for us. Let me send out a drone, and I punch a button, and out of the strategically placed hole in the center of the ship, a little drone pops out and
I
goes,
think it goes
away
with
from the
the
ship.
little air jets, like the little. Psh, psh,
Yeah,
psh, psh, psh.
yeah.
I think there's one. I think yeah, little gas jets. I think that's one of those ones that like if we've got a couple of good ones that are like they've got the fans, but they can switch from atmospheric to non-atmospheric.
Mm,
We've got a
mm,
couple of
mm.
those, and the controls are essentially the same regardless.
Yeah,
Gather
let me get
information,
a
secure
couple.
an advantage.
Let me get me a couple dozen meters from the ship so we can look back at it and see what's going on here.
Okay. I think
At
it's
this
got.
point, Cole stumbles onto the bridge and slumps into a chair.
I think gather information because that's
Okay,
really what you're doing.
sure.
Yeah, looking at this.
Let's do it. So do I get any bonus? I guess we don't. I don't have an official asset for the drone. Can I use my gearhead, which is crafting, repairing, repurposing, modifying?
Probably not, which is fine because this thing's supposed to be kind of problematic. We're saying you're going to make this stuff a little bit more unforgiving, even though it's technically they're going through the same route difficulty to get where the other teams are going. We're just making it a little bit harder. Oh, the dough! Oh,
No, I
double
rolled. It's
tens!
max on every die. 6, 10, 10. How
Oh
I rolled a
my
9. I rolled a 9.
God, that is hideous. What a terrible roll. Yeah, so that's double tens against it. Oh, you got a 9. You couldn't roll any better. But the thing is, it didn't matter what the bonuses were. If we'd have given you a bunch of bonuses, you can only tie.
You can't beat a natural 10. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
and double
That's why it's
tens.
funny.
Okay, all right. So, okay, all right.
An unwelcome truth. I love that phrase.
An unwelcome truth. Okay. So gather information on a miss, dire threat, and reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your. Yeah, no shit. Pay the price.
That's gonna be ouchy.
Create an opportunity for the enemy of choice. Consequences. Surprising development. I feel like new enemy is revealed is redundant because we already have an enemy.
Well, maybe at this point, it really doesn't like the drone,
That
and
that
we
definitely
could pay
okay.
the price by it eating the drone entirely. We
Um,
could have it assume that the drone deployment was an aggressive move and decide to.
I'm looking at a few things here with scene challenges and what I would say is that the pay the price in this case, because we're just doing a gather information and the price
Mhm.
here is it's going to launch us into a scene challenge.
Ah,
And I think it can be bad, but I also think part of this is we should roll on confront chaos. So it's a scene. It's a scene challenge plus confront chaos.
okay.
And confront chaos is when an exploration of a waypoint uncovers something dreadful. Decide the number of aspects, 1, 2, or 3. Roll that number of times, or choose that number of aspects on the table below. Then envision how the encounter begins, where each result, when you first encounter that aspect, mark a tick on your Discover's Legacy track, which is fine. Although it might be better to pick at least some of these. We did say biomechanical.
And so machines made enemy
Yep.
to connect here.
I think also destructive life form of monstrous proportion. Machines
Mhm.
made enemy, destructive life form of monstrous proportion. And I think that too is probably good. And I'm just checking one thing with your guy. So the idea here with the scene challenge is you have a track that you're trying to fill in and resolve. And
Mhm.
it's not really combat, although it's combat adjacent type of thing.
Right. The
And
track is basically the hit points of the scene.
yeah, there's the bar to fill, but then there's also a much shorter bar that fills when we fail. And if that fills before we resolve, we fail anyway.
Right. So that's your hit points. The scene track is the
Yeah.
encounters.
So the question is, do we do it where every success fills 3 boxes, 2 boxes, or 1 box, keeping in mind that we have 4 boxes and they always fill one at a time.
I say 2.
Yeah. Going with one at a time can be painful. What did we call this? What is it?
Amorphous biotech. I called it anglerfish because it lured us here with the false star,
Yeah.
but you were voting more for the cloud of stars, which is also cool.
Yeah, just I'm thinking like space gelatinous cube, amorphous bio. I think I mean my thought we talked about this like mechanical thing gone bad and it's like I think this was a weapon and it may have been in the nebula because somebody couldn't control it and this was like their
Dumping ground.
dump the thing out of the airlock and run kind of thing. And then
we stumbled across the nuclear dump site.
Space is big. No one's ever going to find that. On the contrary.
Sort of the theme of this entire.
The initial thing, I think, is we move this thing, the drone out.
Yep.
And we see it like glommed on like so many media references of like the jellies, tentacular jelly goo, amoeba all over the thing. And then the last thing we see is a pseudopod coming at this camera drone with a speed far greater than anything that size should have. And then the drone goes dead and the ship like groans and the lights start to flicker and we're like, oh shit.
I like the idea that it's sort of like the pseudopod from the Abyss, except it's full of like glittering bits of stars inside.
Yeah, because it's got the glittering stuff and also it's probably getting like the longer this is going on, it's the stronger it's getting because it hasn't had any power in ages and now it does.
Yeah, so we can literally see stuff inside it like powering up.
Yeah. So the 2 main moves for this thing, basically they sort of rewrote face danger and secure an advantage for just how they work in the scene, and it's the only 2 moves you make.
Yep, I'm looking at the scene challenge moves.
I'm going to act. I can totally see where you're like trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm charging down to the bottom. You said it was at the bottom now? As I'm running out of this thing.
Well, and I like the idea that I'm literally smelling this thing because...
the symbiote.
Again, with all the pearl dives I do, like a lot of it has to do with smell. And this smells like precursor tech. That's not a good thing at this size.
What we've learned about precursor tech is it's worse when it's big. Yeah. Okay. So essentially what I'm doing right now is I am going to get to where this thing, because I'm thinking of the ship and I'm thinking where there's like places where this thing could get inside and I'm going to put myself there.
Yeah.
So when you act with, so I'm just racing out of here. If you act with speed, mobility, or agility, roll edge. And I think that's probably what I'm doing. And of course, I managed to create the scene challenge where nothing with Blade Master will help me at all because it's only for Clash and Strike, which is specifically combat moves. Good job, me. I'm just going to keep not being able to use this aspect. I should just swap in something else. Anyway.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, I'll ponder that in a second. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do the face danger thing. So we're going to go with speed and roll edge and just see how that comes out. Oh, not great. Okay, so that's the first thing. On a miss, you fail or a momentary success is undermined by a dramatic turn of events. Fill a clock segment and pay the price. So I'm going to run. I'm running down through and drop, like doing the thing where you grab the side of the wires and slide down. Getting down to the bottom as fast as I can, listening for anything about like atmospheric breaches or anything of that nature. But I think probably I'm not getting any of that. I'm down like, okay, I can't get any lower. There's nothing here. Are you getting anything? And
it's moving. It just took out the drone.
Well, yeah, but I'm not out where the drone is.
I can't see it anymore.
What do you mean you can't see it? Oh, well, of course you can't. The drone's down. I thought maybe like you meant it wasn't on the outside of the ship.
It's starting to get brighter, and like I'm looking out over like the windows of the ship, and like suddenly it's just starting to like glow and sparkle because this thing is getting juiced up. I'm gonna have to shut down the power. It's gonna get full up, whatever that means.
All right. Well, I mean, there's no breach alarms down here, so there's no way that it's getting in. And right then we see it kind of like coming through the wall, basically like through cracks or something like that, like swelling, literally behind me. And I think I'm going to pay the price. And delayed or put at a
Yeah.
disadvantage. I think
Yeah, it's blocked you, I guess.
yeah, I think I'm gonna actually take like I think I'm gonna take a spirit hit because like you hear me shout and then my like and that's about it. Delayed or put it at a disadvantage. So I'm back up in here. Which actually no, if I'm delayed or put it at a disadvantage, what I should be doing is I should be taking momentum.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So I'm at 5. I think I'm gonna take 2. Seems about three's a
Mhm,
pretty hard hit, but I think getting me down to
mhm.
knocking me from 5 down to 3 is pretty fair. And not least because the segments being at 4 is not great. Well, what are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out if I can figure out exactly what it is feeding on and whether it's something I can shut down without having to shut down the entire power generation of the ship. So I'm gathering informationing again, despite
Yeah.
the fact
So,
that went
well,
so well last time.
it's secure and advantage. You're in the scene challenge, so you do the secure
Right.
and
So
advantage
yeah,
thing.
secure an advantage. I'm trying to figure out if I can understand what it's feeding on
So
exactly.
probably wits. You know what? Take a +1 for Cole.
Okay.
And if the 1 point makes a difference, then she has some kind of
Vibe with this thing.
she has a vision. Is there anything? No, you're the way your symbiote works right now. It's essentially for taking damage until you like level it up, right? There is, or
That's right.
is there a thing with? Wait. Is there a thing with you and it giving you advice, or is that a later level up kind of deal?
Later level up.
Okay, all right, never mind then.
But I do have Gearhead, which if I repair, repurpose, or modify equipment or tech, I can have +1 that. But I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we will get to that point.
I think that because that's not secure advantage, but if you're facing danger by like making modifications to the ship, then yeah, for sure that's going to apply.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So
all
here
right.
we go. We're gonna take one for Cole and go. Looks fair.
Oh, that's real good. Strong hit. On the strong hit, take +2 momentum. +2 momentum and add a +1 onto your next move. Strong hit to me would imply that there is like you do see something that can be shut down that doesn't involve the entire ship being shut down. So what specific thing is it really? The Eidolon drive?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Because it's the
I mean,
weird
I'm
that's
saying
the
it's pulling
weirdest
from the
energy,
circuit,
right?
but yeah. But basically, the Eidolon drive surrounds the ship with a field, and so
Mm,
it's feeding off that field. And if
okay.
I'm like, oh, it's pulling off the Eidolon drive, which makes sense to me because like that's precursor stuff and Elon stuff is very similar.
So it's a very straightforward thing. I think you should roll right back into that, and you've got the +1 onto the roll, and I think you go right to like the face danger move with expertise. It's probably another wits roll, but you get a +1 because of the bonus from the last roll.
Right.
As you
And
shut,
I'm going to take my +1 for the technology thing because I'm basically going to modify the Eidolon drive to run at a different frequency, reverse
yeah,
the polarity of the neutron flow.
sure. That still feels pretty good. Is that another strong hit?
Nice.
Uh,
Yep.
very good, very good. All right, so
Mark
strong hit.
progress twice. Oh, but it wasn't a match.
No, on a match. On a strong hit, you're successful, mark progress. So this one, yeah, you don't get the with the face danger is the actual hitting them thing, right?
Right.
All it does is even on the weak hit, you get to mark progress, but you're dealing with stuff. Whereas with secure and advantage, if you get the weak hit, you'll get a thing, but you're not going to mark any progress. You're getting it's really more about the prep or something like that. Okay,
Hmm. All
so
right. I just refrequencied the Eidolon drive. It's not going to be able to feed off of that, but it is not going to be. It's got all the power it's already absorbed. That's not going to go away. You're still with me, right?
shh. That's the only thing that comes over. Just shh.
I looked
When you
down at my
assess a
hand where I touched
situation,
the frequency that I changed it to, and I noticed that Cole's hand is right next to mine on the thing.
mm-hmm.
Like she guided where my finger went to change the frequency. I
I
didn't
like
even realize it.
attempt to gain leverage with it. Okay, gain leverage. Man, I play this guy in a way that does not line up with his stats, and that's annoying, but also it just is what it is.
Well, maybe we need to think about what we're doing as far as exploration and for moves to
Oh
try to align better with your.
no, that's a we well, that's not in the midst of a fight exactly. We are just talking about this, so let's see if we can get a little bit weird. Elon drive, spirit of a place, spirit of a thing. You're going to be attracted to that. All right, all right. And I'm going to pull out. So he's already got his sword out, and I'm going to.
It's powering up some sort of weapon inside there. I don't know what it's going to do.
I'm going to try to attract it, basically. So my thinking here is that he can narrate it backwards later or explain what was going on later. But the Eidolon drive, we talk about like it's this, what Eidolon means in the spirit of a thing or something like that. And I think there's something with the scars and the balefire and this interstitial, the spaces in between and something like this that he might be able to tap into and basically create kind of that energy you're looking for is over here kind of thing. And I'm using the sword essentially as an antenna for this. Essentially what I'm going to do is meditate and make the sword glow, but this is where all of this is happening. And I've never really done this as let's lure the monster by making the sword be magic for a second is not a move that he's ever gone with at any point in time, but we're going to give it a shot. And I think that's resolve. Like it's basically a will thing. I'm looking at this.
Yeah, I think it's a will thing.
All right, so we're gonna go with that for secure an advantage. No ads, but we're going with what is result? Heart. Okay. God, the one, but the two. I can take the two. That's a weak hit. Bad dice, but they got bad dice too, so that's fine. So on a hit, you're successful. On a strong hit, take both. On a strong hit with on a weak hit, choose one. Either +2 momentum or +1 on your next move, but not a progress move. That's fine. So I'm going to take the +1 on my next move rather than the momentum at this point in time. So with this, I'm going to go to the base danger thing. So I'm thinking that this thing actually, like security advantage is weak hit. It's not. I'm getting movement in the space where I'm at. There's still light. There's still power. I'm getting this thing. And you talk about reverse the polarity. I'm going to change this drawing into the spirit stuff to something that's much more like harsh. It's the energy of the killer kind of thing. And actually,
you're channeling your younger self.
Yeah, I'm going to strike back at this thing as it comes close because it's looking for this thing. And it's like, I'm going to, give it a damaging version of this. And rolling with edge, but with the +1 forward from the previous thing to see if I can actually get a hit on this bad boy. Oh, that 10. That's a 7 against a 7. Oh, that's gross. That's so gross.
It doesn't even seem to give you a momentum option here.
Well, it doesn't because my momentum isn't high enough to do anything. So it knows. It knows I'm screwed. On a miss, you fail, or a momentary success is undermined. So I think the first couple of slashes actually seem to be working, but the thing just adapts too fast. Also, it's probably bought things that were way better at manipulating this kind of energy than I am because I'm literally making this shit up for the first time.
Right. And you try to lure it, and it immediately says, yes, thank you. I'll take that energy right out of you.
Yeah. Fill a clock second, pay the price. Let's see what we have there. Oh, that's the same thing as before. I don't want to do that one again.
You just want to re-roll it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hover over that you are delayed.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Take some damage.
You are harmed. All right. Yeah, I think this thing just sucks. I'm gonna knock my health down to 3. Take 2. I'll take 2 health. Yeah, that does not pay off for me at all. And instead, I'm left with the. And this is where I fully encounter, like, it's an amorphous blob. I should be slashing at, but there's mechanical machine bits in here, and they are not soft and squishy and harmless by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, you may have gathered from the comms that the plan did not go super well. What with all the yelling and the
yeah, I stopped it from getting any stronger, but I can't take the power back.
Well,
I could figure out how to magnetize the hull or something. I could maybe try to repel it, but I don't know if we have enough power for that.
If you said this thing was a precursor thing, what did they not like? This is Cole. Like, what is the?
Well, they didn't like each other. That's the problem. Precursors were extremely factious.
Well, we don't have another one of those around to do anything with, and they probably also
this
eat
thing
us.
Is huge. I mean, it's meant to attack something bigger than us.
Well, the ship is bigger than us.
Well, but even bigger than the ship. I mean, this thing is really big.
You make it think there's another one coming?
Another what coming?
Another one of them. Another thing like it. Make it think there's another precursor coming, like do some kind of energy signature that it would think is.
Yeah, I could maybe repurpose a drone. I'd have to take some of the Eidolon fuel, put it in the drone.
We're not going
can't
anywhere.
Get down there fast enough.
Well,
Quin, do you think you could move some Eidolon fuel into one of the drones?
She's already running. Not well. The adrenaline.
Stumbling.
The adrenaline. Fighting the alcohol.
Use the shit drone, the one that we got.
I don't know which one that is. I'm going to grab something. And I would say A couple of the crew goes with her. Why don't you try to secure an
Then I got to
advantage?
remodulate again and figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Why don't you do secure an advantage and see if you can like build up what's your momentum at? Man, it is really
Oh, it's
hard.
massive. It's a 10.
Your momentum's at a 10? Yeah, honestly, go for the face danger and see if like confuse it essentially at this point until we get the other thing going. So yeah, well you don't have shadow, or do you have shadow? I don't know if you have stealth.
I have 2 in shadow.
Yeah, I would go with deception, stealth, trickery, but you could probably still do the gear stuff because you're doing everything with the gear head at this point in time with like fiddling with the
Yeah.
way the stuff is going. So I'd go with shadow with a +1 while you're.
Yeah, that looks good.
Ooh, that looks real good. Yeah. Like that. All right, strong hit, your success. Hey, you need to use momentum. I'm just sitting down here.
All right. I think your plan is going to work, Cole. If we can, I've got it weak enough that it's going to chase energy again. We can get some energy shot out from the drive bay. It'll probably chase it. And we're going to have to jump right away, though.
I'm on comms going, wait, you said her? And I'm just like, I'm running away from the thing to wherever.
Right. And it's chasing you hard, which is good because it's burning energy.
That's great. I'm going to, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to secure an advantage with edge, I think, because I'm running. Speed, mobility, agility, sure. Yeah, I'm just going to roll that as I'm racing this thing. Ooh, yay, strong hit. Okay, so on the strong hit, +2 momentum and add 1 to your next move. Not a progress move, so that's fine. Where am I at on my momentum? So I'm at 3, I'll go to a 5, +1 my next move. So I'm racing ahead of this thing.
The back ship.
Keep going. Keep doing the thing. Is the Eidolon drive still going to work the way that you re-geared it? Because we're going to want to get the hell out of here if this thing leaves the ship.
We're going to have to punch it the minute that it lets us go. We're going to be a little short on fuel, but it should work normally, assuming this thing isn't just exerting some sort of distortion field.
Okay. All right.
Shit, now I'm going to check for distortion field. AI, go check for distortion field.
Checking for distortion field. I kind of want the AI to excited. Like, yes, that would have been an excellent thing to have me do about a minute ago when I had enough time to do it. But I'll get right on that. This is really
One
good.
of my friends has his quad set up to talk to him like SpongeBob all the time, so it's just ridiculous.
That sounds
like, how do you?
I would no thank you. All right. Okay, so I think you're at face danger with. If I'm gonna be shitty, it feels like it should be. You've got shadow at 2, don't you?
Yeah.
It feels like this is trickery.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get it to follow this thing out, and but did you give yourself the +1? That's not good.
It did.
Okay, I would burn momentum. Do we leave it with the miss or okay?
Wow, -8 momentum.
Wow. On a weak hit, you're successful and mark progress, but also encounter a complication or a setback. I think you were talking so much about the fuel and stuff. I think we definitely take another supply hit. It was at a 2, and we moved it back up to a 4, but then we immediately had like the speeding out of the nebula, put it at a 2 again. So it's at 1. Okay, so we take that cost, but does it say we advance on a weak hit? Base danger on a weak hit. You're successful. Mark progress. All right. And then the last thing is, so when the scene challenge, tension clock, or progress track is filled, or when events lead to the scene's conclusion, roll the challenge dice and compare to your progress. On the strong hit, so we basically just, it's a distortion. There's the little dice thing for amorphous bioweapon, and you just go ahead and roll that. I'm worried.
You don't want to try to get 2 more progress?
I don't know. I mean, we can try. Yeah, I can give it a shot. I've still got a +1 roll, a +1 on the roll.
Yeah, let's see if we can get further. Because my thought is that we are out of fuel, but we are basically going to bank off of this thing because it has a distortion field. So we're going to Eidolon drive off of it, bounce off of it.
We'll give it one more shot then with myself here and
get it out of the ship or we're never getting free.
So I'm going to, as this thing is like kind of starting to go, but like maybe not entirely going for the drone, I'm going to make it very unpleasant in this area with just kind of slashing at the body of the thing and trying to go after that. So this is going to be, again, I'm rolling edge, taking the +1 forward, excuse me, the +3. I'm not going to overuse Cole on this, so I'm not, as much as it might be fun for her to do the thing, I think I overuse her just yet. Oh, that one sitting there was very not good. Weak hit, though.
Should be a weak hit.
You're successful in mark progress, but also
Yep.
encounter a copulation or setback. Envision what occurs and fill the clock segment. Okay, so fill it. What did that say?
Clock?
On a weak hit, you're successful in mark progress and fill it. And fill a clock segment.
So I guess we
Gross.
fill up both. So we do mark progress, though.
So, okay. Let's go back. When the scene challenge tension clock or the progress track is filled, or when events lead to the scene's conclusion, roll the challenge dice and compare your So the clock and the track fill at the same time because you had a weak hit too, right? And the weak hit still fills the clock segment. So you had filled in your weak hit, you filled the clock.
Oh, yep.
So we were the clock segment and the track both max out at the same time. So go ahead and roll the progress thing. 10 versus 6, a strong hit.
Yeah, we had the track up to 10. So
yeah, well, the thing is, 10s happen, and it can still screw our track.
Yeah, I know.
So strong hit. On a strong hit, you achieve your objective unconditionally, aside from all the other horrible shit that's happened. I'm going to take a spirit hit too, just from dealing with that thing up close.
Except that you get slurped on as it goes out the door. Finally.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a spirit. So I've got a health hit, spirit hit, our supplies boned, my momentum's in the toilet. Your momentum's in the toilet. We're good. This is great. But we do.
But my whole goal was to try to Karam off of this thing and launch into the Eidolon drive again, and basically use it as the scar. And
a walking
just to save it, because otherwise we may not have had enough fuel to launch again.
That's great. Undertake an expedition. Wits.
Right.
I like that 6. Strong hit.
I expect it to be strong.
Yeah, when that 8 came up, and we can envision the waypoint in a second. Let's for a second just sit with the fact that we got loose from the thing. Yeah, as soon as that's done, I'm going to be like, Cole, thank you. First of all, stop putting yourself in danger. Secondly, well done. Thirdly, if you could get a med pack, and I just kind of like collapse back into like some cargo netting to just kind of not have to sit up while we're dealing with it. Amorphous bio, that thing, that's not great. So many things we can lead people, traps that we can lead people on this route in case we need to lose somebody later. Like, how many ways can we fuck up pursuit?
Like the asteroid field, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let's figure out where we're going. So we had the Waypoints update by Sean Tompkin. Waypoint Oracles. We're in the Outlands.
How many checks do we have left on this? Oh, quite a few.
One more successful jump would be the bare minimum. 2 more successful jumps gets us to where we're rolling against an 8 to see how we wrap things up. 3 more would be a little bit more safer. I just did, man. I don't love. So what I rolled there was another space creature. I don't love that.
Yeah, reroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, use the. Oh.
Okay, so the first thing that you notice when you go into the drift is, okay, so we're drifting, and like, well, yeah, I know. No, you don't understand. We're drifting off of the desert. We're being pulled toward, like, so I think between this thing being like some sort of precursor bioweapon, and we're using it as a scar and stuff like that, it like attuned us to pull us towards some precursor vault that nobody knows is floating out here in the middle of whatever.
That's great.
Precursor vault in deep space.
Mm-hmm.
That is so great. So let's look at this real quick. So it said precursor vault in deep space, scale, large elaborate site.
Okay.
A structure. That reads like space station, because vessel is another option, and I was half. There's a result in here that simply says incomprehensible. Like, what's the structure? I just start crying when I look at it.
Cthulhu vibe. I'm still thinking of that original Battlestar Galactica like light ship.
Practical or functional? I like the crystal. Well, there is one here that's crystalline. I'm just going with the material crystalline or glass-like, because you were just talking about that.
Yeah, I posted that picture again in the.
But broken or fragmented? You posted it back up in the chat again
in the Discord.
So crystalline thing, but it's like immediate visible damage. Like,
right.
Oh boy. So the nice thing is for us is that theoretically, I'm looking at this picture that you posted, and then with the thing walking through the stars like up above, and I'm like, I don't need these two ideas superimposed over each other right now.
It's kind of cool, actually. I'm digging it.
And now we have crystalline vaulting, crystalline precursor vault. Since we rolled the success, we're not in immediate danger. Like we've come up, we get pulled off, not from where we meant to be, but we get pulled to this thing. This actually feels like a really good place to kind of stop, because we're looking at this is El Dorado. Like this is a huge deal.
Yes. This could potentially be like so much goodness.
Yeah, this doesn't go back underneath the surface of Sirocco. This is just a thing that we could like leverage. It's
well, given that we have very low fuel, we're kind of like, boy, if we could find what we needed to refuel the ship in there.
You're right. We could resupply. We pull out. It's like, well, okay, it's not attacking. We can just leave, and then on the fuel, just beep beep beep.
Yeah.
Beep beep beep. Like, and there's absolutely no question.
How much fuel did you put in that drone?
What do you mean, how much? I grabbed the fuel that was in that storage room.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good. It worked. Yes.
Yep. I mean, I put some on the drone, but then the rest of it I just put in the airlock so that it would all go when the drone went.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. It did. Yeah, it worked. Great.
Was I not? How? Oh no.
I just put my hand over the giant, E that's showing on the fuel gauge right now. Just put my hand over that.
Yeah. The Post-it note from the mechanic that's like, don't ever let this go below 1/3. The fuel lines won't run correctly. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's right next to the Post-it note that says never go full out, which we just did in the previous scene.
Never go full out, never let the fuel get too low. So about that, okay, shattered crystalline precursor vault. These are 4 words that sound awesome. And so we're gonna absolutely have to. We gotta resupply. We're gonna have to explore the waypoint, and
I know that we don't want to use this too much, but I really would love to have Cole have some sort of like vision, either of what we're going to find in there or while we're in there.
I think I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to, like. I might do something with the swordplay thing, because for one thing, it's not coming up a lot, and for another thing, by the time it does, I could probably buy it back. But I might swap and do the. There's a thing called well, yeah. You can do sidekick. I'm gonna look at both of them. I can do sidekick, but there's also one called cohort, which basically takes a contact and turns them into a contact that is on the ship, so you can use them when it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that I always am in favor of like rearranging the mechanics to fit where the story is taking us.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, something like that. But yeah, having her, the terrible, like, I am 100%, honestly, the first scene is like just arguing with me to convince me to do it, because there's so many reasons why I wouldn't want to. Right. So this is what's interesting. So don't get me wrong, I love this game, but when the deal is we want to travel to Rivendell, well, actually, this is a perfectly good example. It's like, we're going to travel to Rivendell and then we'll meet with Elrond. And you think that we're going to travel to Rivendell, fast forward through all that, and then get to the scenes with the elves, but we decide to engage the mechanics all the way through. And instead it ends up being half the book is just getting to Rivendell. You can see we're just doing it difficult. Can you imagine an extreme journey where you're only filling half a box every time you successfully roll? Like, make sure your space map is big, because you're going to be running into stuff. The horse pachinko is going to bounce off of every damn peg.
Yeah.
Which is great, but
now I'm thinking, like, are we going to end up in Rivendell or are we going to end up in Goblin Town?
Well, the thing is, the goal is get to the shortcut, right? Like, get in front of everybody. Yeah. And the consolation here is like, yeah, we're having a rough time, but so is everybody else. There's a reason that this is like not the plotted route, like this is not one of the safe routes that we have. Even going straight to Paradox is not. So all the other ships are having to go through the same bullshit.
Yep. It's just that their bullshit is known bullshit and ours is unknown.
It's the getting there. That's the problem. Man, this would be one of those ones where we're like, that's really cool. Make sure and record that location. We'll come back some other time. Got to go by. Except for the fact that our supply's at 1. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Well, and also you're injured, and I don't know how much actual medical supplies we have on the ship.
Yeah. You know what this feels like? This feels like a pretty typical Starforged game.
Yeah. There you go.
Unexpected shit keeps happening, and it's all really interesting. I love everything that happened tonight, but at the same time, it's like, God dang
I
it.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
very exciting.